Hello, and thank you for joining us for the 2021 Lake County Film Festival. I am Nat Dykman, the Executive Director, and this is the Q&A for OMG WTF, the head scratchers that leave you guessing. And I'm very excited to have with us Abraham Mike Youssef,
Hi there.
who directed Imago Diabolus, and Alex Minas, who directed Lemonade Party. How's it going, everyone?
It's great over here.
Great.
Cool, great. So this is one of my favorite programs that I programmed this year. I love these just really weird things. Somebody asked me what the difference between the science fiction and the OMG is, and I said, the science fiction program will leave you wondering what's going to happen, and the OMG program will leave you wondering what just did happen. So on that token, can you guys tell me where you guys got your ideas for your films? Mike?
Yes, the basic idea behind it was a couple of years back. I was asking myself if it's possible to create a movie which is based on photography. So actually, I just wanted to see if it's possible to tell an entire story just by putting one photo after another, and then speed it up and see if it happens. So does it really work out? Do you really understand? Do you really see with your eye a fluent movie just by photographers? And as I had that idea, I slowly started to create the story around that technical idea. And so in the end, this totally weird thing popped up, and well, it confused everybody until today, even myself.
That's great. Alex, I know yours was made for a 24 or 48-hour film, marathon, shootout, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it was part of a 48-hour film project, which is it's an international program. It goes on in like most major cities around the world. But the inspiration behind the film is just I love the Alice in Wonderland concept.
Is anyone there? Hey,
can you hear me?
I didn't hear anything. It just did. Did you hear it, Mike?
I heard him perfectly.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's what's great about StreamYard is if it keeps running. Last year I got kicked out of a program and they were still talking when I came back like 5 minutes later, which is great. So if I stop, feel free to just talk some more about the film. So I don't have a follow-up question since I literally didn't hear any of that.
I can repeat what I just said if that works. Okay. So yeah, I've always been a big fan of the Alice in Wonderland concept, and I like how it kind of gets retold in different ways. And I wanted to do something that was a little bit more science fiction and weird. We have to come up with a concept. Basically, the way the 48-hour film project works is that you get to choose a genre. You have to, and you're given a line to use and a prop to use. The prop was a golf ball. The line was "She's not in charge anymore," which you don't see in this cut, but because I recut it for film festival submission. But it's we were inspired by the props that my cinematographer Deidre Locklear had. She had these big camera mounted heads that she used for Burning Man. And I believe she used it for a music video, and so we just wrote a story around it, and that's what we kind of came up with.
That's great, because when you said she had these heads, I was like, why in the world would someone have these? And Burning Man is the perfect answer.
Yeah, totally.
Great. So so what was the process like in the 48 hours? Did you like basically shoot a day and edit a day, or how much did you change afterwards?
Yeah. So yeah, so like I said before, you get your everything that you get at the kickoff event, which is the genre and the props and whatever you're supposed to use, and then from that point on is when you start writing. You can gather your team and you can kind of brainstorm as much as you want, but you have to kind of adhere to the rules of the project. So once you get all your parameters or whatever you're going to use for your film, that's when you start the writing. You basically don't sleep for 2 days because you got to wrangle everybody and get them like ready to shoot and look at the script and talk to your crew at as early as possible. If not, like, stay up as late as possible to work over it. And then in the past, I've done this a few times. What's worked for us is writing on Friday night, right after kickoff event, shooting all day Saturday, and then we start kind of dumping footage mid shoot all the way through, and then we have to still keep to a schedule. And we were right on schedule, which that rarely happens. I kind of won the lottery with that. Yeah, we were done shooting by like 9 p.m. on Saturday, and then we have to deliver the final whatever is done by 7 p.m. the next day on Sunday, in person, mind you. Yeah,
I edited a film for a 48-hour contest once, but they ended up shooting long, and then they got lost trying to find my house, and they brought it to me like, you have like 3 hours to edit this, and it didn't come anywhere close. So Mike, let's go with Mike first. Let me see if I understand your story right, because I felt a lot of people were asking me, and I was like, well, here's my best interpretation, right? So there's a serial killer on the loose, right? And our main character is the detective. Right. And he finds a box, and it leads him, to this place. And then he gets this gun and some photos that lead him to believe that he is the serial killer.
That's the most probably interpretation. I mean, there is no real story. Of course, there is a story, but there is no real truth behind it. So everybody can interpret the movie as he or she wants to in the end. That is most probably my interpretation as well.
Cool.
So the cop he gets this strange box of photographs in his office while he's sleeping. Then he follows the clues and finds himself in this hole and sees himself watching the photos on the photos. And we actually took photos in 3 or 4 different layers. So if it was in super high resolution, you could see himself like 3-4 times turning around on the photos, getting out and into reality slowly. And yeah, he obviously shoots himself, or maybe shoots himself.
That's my favorite part, man. Every time, there's the new Matrix movies coming out, so the old ones are getting people are paying attention to them again. And I went and saw the second one in the theaters like 5 times, and every time at that highway chase, I was on the edge of my seat, just going like, "What's going to happen?" And even though I know what's going to happen, every time he puts that gun to his head, and it's timed really weird. It's kind of timed like long, like you really, linger on that shot, and I'm just waiting to like watch again and see, try and see the seams of where the cut is, or whatever. Yeah. Just like on the Matrix, like I said, I've seen this probably 8 times, over and over. So what I've said, it's basically, he sits there with the gun to his head, and you're like, is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? And then he does something happens that is just out of nowhere. So where did that idea come from? And, what does that mean?
Well, what does it mean? In the end, it's interpretation. I personally, my interpretation.
Cool. That's great.
If it, in my little world, this guy, he's schizophrenic, and he's the cop and he's the killer. 2 personalities in himself, and the photographs are like flashbacks in his mind from the evil deeds which come back to him, and he sees it, and then the 2 personalities, they collapse in the final scene, and he shoots. But the question is, which personality is dead? Because one of the personalities obviously is alive, because he opens his eyes in the end.
Yeah.
That's my interpretation, but I talked to loads of friends who watched the movie, and everybody sees something else, and that's the beauty of it. Basically, that's a wonderful thing.
Is there a favorite interpretation that you didn't think of?
Not a favorite one, but there were pretty interesting ones. from left to right. It was really amazing. And people said, "Oh wow, maybe it was a completely all dream, and he just woke up in the end, you know, by shooting himself. He woke himself up from the dream." It's like, oh, okay, never thought of that again, but
Yeah.
very interesting.
Alex, what about Lemonade Party? What can you tell me about you know, your, at least the author's intent, meaning you and your crew? What's going on with the time travel and the heads, and is Lemonade Party, is this a real thing? Lemonade parties? That's different than lemon parties, right?
Yeah, very different. I think a lemonade party was just kind of like an innocent way of introducing this like idyllic mid-century world where, you know, like just something is like not quite right there, because like who has a lemonade party? That's not really, is it a thing? Is it not quite a thing? But I think it just kind of add to like the polished look of an idyllic setting. And then, but you obviously know there's something not right there when she is first, you know, the scientist is introduced to this world where, okay, things are kind of like my world, but there's just a few things that are off. And she's very curious about it because this was the intent of her mission. She developed a interdimensional, I call it the interdimensional hop machine that she did. So and she's exploring and she's discovering. Obviously, it's a world where she is kind of forced to conform to in a way. So yeah, I hope I answered your question there.
What can you tell me about your set design, and especially on the kind of time frame you're at? You know, thoughts, how you did it, or what your thoughts were when you know.
Yeah.
It
was so initially, like after, you know, doing these 48-hour film competitions, I was kind of hoping to keep the crew small, and but my cinematographer, she had a lot of resources. She actually knew a few set designers that were super excited to work on the project, and I just kind of, as soon as we got a script together, I shot it over to her, to our set designer. Her name was Kat Franciscani. She had another designer with her, which is May. I gotta pull up her name. May Riojas. I'm sorry. And then they just took the script, and I sent them a few still images of stuff that I liked. I really like lights, and that's what they did. And so they would, as we were kind of prepping in the morning, they would set up one scene, and then we would shoot in that setting. And as we're shooting, they're setting up the next scene inside the house. And so they were just on it. They were total rock stars. They just took the script and ran with it. They interpreted it themselves. And that's why you see like all like this, you know, it's kind of like technology based in a way. So you see like all these media, forms of media in every shot. There's a radio in one shot. There's ripped open old cassette tapes and another shot, you know. So it's like, and you see CDs on the wall and stuff like that, and stuff you really didn't get to see on camera, like they did like a whole place setting on a kitchen table with vinyl records. You know, it was they did a really, really amazing job, and of course the lights in the hallway. So yeah, it was these two women that they just did such an amazing job.
Mike, can you tell us a little bit about the production of Imago Diabolus? Like, are those just how? I guess I don't know what else to say. How many photos were used?
In the entire production, we used around 900 photographs. Oh. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to do it all real. I wanted to have real photos printed out on set and used actually in the shoot. So I rented the best on set printer, a photo printer I could find in Munich, and we put it on the set, and we put it in the next room. And as we had 3 days of shooting, and 2 days were only photo production. So the film was only shot in, it was only like 2 or 3 takes. That was it, because it's one shot. and all the rest. I mean, there are of course there are invisible cuts in the movie, so the entire rest is completely photographs. And these photographs we had the first night. We shot the entire scene in the office of the policeman, and until the car chase, and until he steps into his car. The car and the entire photo scene in the hallway, that's the second night. And the third night was only the
room.
4 takes where the camera moves into the hall, then we move away from the photo itself and move again into this machine which starts the photos.
Is the camera set up on that device where the photos are falling the whole time and then you speed it up, or do we switch over at some point to any sort of digital? Is that all practical?
It's all practical, completely.
Oh, man.
So I have a lot of friends here, and my set designer, she knew this guy and I never worked with him before. And she said, well, if you want to have something very special, you go to him and talk to him, because he had got ideas you can't imagine. And it was like that. It was unbelievable. This guy built this entire machine. I mean, we took this old photocopy machine from a broke down company somewhere. We just killed out everything from inside, so it was completely hollow, and he built his own device which allows him to that the machine will spit out the photos the way and the speed he wants to. So we just build a little light inside, and actually he is sitting in the movie. This guy is sitting behind the copy machine.
I thought you were going to say he was in
putting
it.
out the photos one by one from his hand, because he said that's the only way he can make sure that nothing happens, that it will go in the speed we need, that it will straight and smooth, and every photo will just come out exactly straight. So it has to go on this conveyor belt, and this machine in the end, it's built from 2 old chairs he found in the office. So he just put them together. He put this plate, and then we came up with hundreds of ideas. How do you make hundreds of photos one after another? First, they should be on the conveyor belt. Then we said, okay, if we speed it up, it will just be blur. It will just be like this. No way. Okay, they should fall into the box. So we said, okay, 800 photos, it will pile up. So how do you do it? It comes narrow to the camera. It will increase, and we have to put the focus and everything. Okay, not practical. So we made idea after idea, and in the end, this guy built this entire thing by himself. It was unbelievable, We had this plate like this, and we said, okay, we have to stop it. So he made some stoppers. Then he made this little spare room where the thing could fall in. Then we said, okay, it has to come out. So he built 2 little, you can see it. It's 2 little metal pins, which just make this move. So one photo after another can fall down, and this movement is actually made by hand from the set designer. It's air pressure. So she just had the little ball in the hand, and she was like 5 meters away, standing outside of the frame, and then just pressing one after another, one photograph after another, so it falls out. And it took us like 3 or 4 takes, because every time the last take before the camera could move around into the invisible cut, one of the photos got stuck. It got sideways, whatever. So this was a really tricky part, but it's still unbelievable. And the funny thing is that nobody of the team actually understood the idea how we will shoot it. And all the time we were taking the photographs, the only way there was no screen to see 600-800 photos which were taken in one shot, like there's no way you can control that. So we just took the camera afterwards and just scrolled through. So okay, does it look good? Is everything in is everything in the frame? And after a while, you could hear from one or another people, that's how it's supposed to be. Now I get it. And that was so funny, because the idea just came into the team day by day, minute by minute. They understood a little bit more of how the movie should be in the end.
Wow. So, Alex, you shot this for the 48 Film Festival, and then you re-edited it, and you've been playing it around places.
Yeah. So far we've I believe it's in the Paris Film Festival, and there was the Venice Shorts. Is that what you're asking? If
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then usually it's what are you doing next? Where's it going, or what's going to happen to it next? Are people going to be able to see it online, or?
Yeah, I'm hoping to release it online after it makes it through the circuit. Yeah, at some point. But yeah, right now, and then of course, we got it at the Lake County, which was awesome. And then the next one is that we have it at the Another Hole in the Head Film Festival in San Francisco.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that one's incoming in December. I believe we have a showing on the 11th for the local listing. Or December 11th, I should say. And then yeah, after that we have a few more pending. So hopefully we'll get some good news.
Are you going to San Francisco? I don't know where you are. Where are you?
Well, yeah, so I'm based in Oakland. So yeah, I'm just across the bridge
great.
from San Francisco. Yeah.
Great. Do you go to their festivals a lot? Chris is especially, I guess a pretty good friend of mine. Chris
yeah. Oh, awesome. No, I haven't been to Another Hole in the Head, so it'll be pretty awesome to check it out for the first time. They still got some restrictions, obviously, but hoping to be there in person and check things out.
Well, those guys run like 5 festivals.
Oh, okay. I
San
know that.
Francisco Indie Fest, Another Hole in the Head, San Francisco Doc Fest. I'm missing one, but then they also just started. Just a month ago, they started a music festival.
Awesome.
It's for music films called Decibels.
Awesome. Yeah, I gotta check it out.
Do you have anything next on your schedule?
Yeah, just the showing on December 11th.
No, sorry, another film. Are you working on anything?
Oh, another film. I'm sorry. Yeah, not at the moment. No, I did edit a feature. I'm an editor by trade, so I did edit a feature. It's called Stone Fruit. It was an LGBT comedy that was making its way through the festival circuit. I believe you can rent it from Amazon Prime right now. But that was something a while back I was working on, and I'm hoping to start submitting to some screenplay festival or screenplay competitions for a horror short that I've been working on for some time. But yeah, I'm hoping to get back to writing.
You're gonna do the 48 again?
I would love to do it again. Yes, I've done it about 2-3 times before, and I feel like every time I learn something new. So I would love to do it again.
Now, Mike, I talked to you before. This is your first film, right?
Yeah, right.
So you said you work in production, right? You do other film stuff. You work on films.
Mostly as a gaffer. Mostly,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What's next for the film? And do you have another film that you're thinking about shooting?
What's next for the film? I mean, the film is doing pretty good on the festival circuit. I have now, I don't know exactly, I think like 13 festivals where it's running, and still going. And with next project, I have loads of stories waiting for me to be written down. Thing is, Germany at the moment is really crazy with production, and we are flooded with projects, and as hungry mouth have to be fed, you got to work and make some money. And so my own projects at the moment are a little bit at the side, but I really hope that in 2022 I'll be able to get down a little bit and take care of my own movies as well. Okay, Nat, you were frozen at the moment. I don't know if you said something to me.
Nat, can you hear us?
I can now hear you. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I'll go back and find out what your answer was, but has COVID settled down enough, and now production is picking up because everyone's trying to fill in all their gaps that they didn't get filled when the lockdowns were up or whatever?
I've actually no idea. We had in film production, we had a little little COVID breakdown, and that was it. And since then, that was in April, May last year, and since then we are flooded with production. It's
Wow.
actually crazy. So it's some of the crew members, they increased their rates by the month because they were offered better and better and better rates. It's really crazy, and I've never had this in 20 years in the movie business before.
Wow. Wow. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me, guys. It's a great program. I love how everything really locks together and how weird everything is. And I hope everyone out there enjoyed it. And I'll be back with more Q&As tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.
Great.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much, Nat.
My pleasure.